We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and with my background in education, I love this topic. Former teacher, ran a tutoring business, and I just really enjoy talking back to school and especially tech and tools and trends. Our guest today is math expert Vanessa Vakharia, and she shares distraction-free tips to set students up for success this school year. Vanessa, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. What do you suggest for building distraction free study routines, both at home and in the classroom? With all these devices, all these different things, it really can become difficult.
100%. I think we as adults probably feel that too. And one of my biggest pieces of advice for parents right now is to really be intentional about the tools you're putting in front of your kids, right? So does that tool do the thing that you want it to do? I don't know if you know this, but right now 45 states are moving to ban cell phones, even some laptops from school, because there is this understanding that when the tool in front of us does a million things, we might not be on task all the time. So one of the best things you can do right now is when you're buying tech tools or you're evaluating the tech tools in your environment, ask, does this thing do the thing I want it to do really, really well?
And that's key. You're so right because again, you want them to stay on task. And with AI involved in different
Yes.
ways, and how do we utilize AI in the classroom? Still, it's not been figured out ultimately, and hopefully they do figure it out because it's such a great tool. But yet, it can be also a detriment to students because students are looking at the quickest shortcuts possible. The process is how do you keep them, especially at home? If they have all these different devices on and all these different things, it's a problem. So you really got to figure out where's the best place to study. As formerly owning a tutoring business and then relaunching one soon again, I always look at specifically enough where the best place with the least amount of distractions to sit down and do schoolwork when you're at home. And
I love that.
and it's not in the bedroom, that's for sure. It's got to be at the kitchen table. It's got to be at the dining room table, somewhere where there's no distractions.
For sure. That is such a good tip. I also love that you owned and are going to own a tutoring center. Me too. We have that in common.
Oh, right, fantastic. See, I have multiple businesses and a digital agency, but I had a tutoring business for years, and now I'm relaunching it because of my NIL to the pros venture I'm doing. So,
Oh,
all right.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, next question is what tools can you suggest for improving student focus and math performance?
So I love everything you just said, and that kind of leads to my next tool. I love that you kind of brought up AI in there. My obsession right now is the new TI-84 Evo. It's the new graphing calculator by Texas Instruments. So I love it because it's cool, it's really pretty, it's aesthetic, and it's really intuitive. It mimics kind of the icon-based screen that kids are used to seeing on their phone. So the learning curve is very low. It feels familiar to them. But Neil, my favorite thing is what it doesn't have. No AI, no connectivity to the internet. So 81% of educators are saying right now when kids use a device that is dedicated to one thing without that connectivity, they're going to do better. They're going to stay on task. And that's actually my favorite thing about the graphing calculator. It does all this cool stuff, but it does cool stuff related to math, and that's it.
Exactly, because they got to be able to do it. They can't just have AI do it for them. Until we
Totally.
figure out, but again, it can't. We can figure out these guardrails. We can create AI tutors for all schools. We can do all these different things with that have guardrails. We just haven't done it because
Yeah, I know.
and that's what we got to look at. So, what do you recommend for helping transition kids from summer screen time to focus academic work?
I think probably like the biggest thing, the biggest shift I hear parents struggle with is the routine shift, right? Like right now, kids are in a different routine, which means that we're in a different routine as adults, different bedtimes, different wake times, different meal times, different screen time. So, one of the best things you can do, don't wait till school starts. Like a good 2 weeks before it starts, start switching up that routine. When are we waking up? When are we going to bed? When are we using our screens for fun? When are we using our screens for studying? And if you are going to purchase new tech tools, now is the time to do it so kids can start getting used to that interface and building that familiarity.
Oh, that's so true. I completely agree. And we could talk about tips all day long, but ultimately getting them back in the routine, especially now they're going back to school very soon. Some schools probably a week from now.
Yeah.
You basically their bedtime, start that routine for the morning routine and after an evening routine now. Don't wait till a week before school starts. And ultimately prepping them. One of the big things that I saw when I had my tutoring business, the kids that worked in the summer and had a tutoring program in the summer were far ready for school at the beginning of the year and succeeded far above lots of other students that take weeks to get back in shape. So that's the importance, is really preparing them. Start to get them in that routine, right?
Absolutely.
What do you think is what other tips do you have?
Okay, well, this is like, you're really lining me up with the perfect segue. So thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
One of the things I really want to make sure we talk about is math anxiety. We don't talk about it enough. And so many kids and adults struggle with it. I was definitely a kid that was anxious around math, but I want your listeners and viewers to know math anxiety is not a life sentence. It's not a thing that has to be forever. There are ways to combat it. And one of those ways is through building confidence. And nothing builds confidence like consistency and familiarity. You're talking about doing work over the summer, right? Making sure that math muscle stays strong, so when we get into the classroom, there's not this shock. And the same goes for our tech tools, right? Like, when we actually, 94% of educators say when kids use the same calculator, doing their homework in the classroom that they use on an exam, that they perform better. Why? Well, the content might get harder. They might still be feeling a bit anxious learning new content, but the tool in their hand they're familiar with. They've been using it consistently. It is their anchor, right? It feels like home, and that is so important. So building that consistency now with your routines, with the math, and with the tools you're using really, really helps. And if you're feeling anxious about math, you're not alone, and it's not going to last forever.
And this is what I'm going to say is math has helped me so much in my second part, where I ended up teaching math out of a real luck thing, getting a full-time sub position. Started loving teaching math, taught math for X amount of years before I went into my other industry. But I ultimately have learned so much, because that is what makes me successful in AI, is the fact of understanding. In math, we make mistakes. We have to work through problems. We have to work through
Yes.
steps. We have to work through things. That is an area where it's step by step in mathematics. So if you kind of face life the same way, step by step, instead of trying, you can't tackle a math problem in one
It takes
swipe.
steps. It's the
There's so
process,
many
right?
steps.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. And the more you can lay that out to your students, this is a tip for teachers. A lot of teachers do not model the math problem, do not go step by step all the way through it. They expect them to figure that out. Most people need to do things in steps. And the more they're confident, where they get stuck in one step, don't punish them for a problem wrong. Take points off, but see what was the issue? What was the step that they forgot? And with our attention span now, 30 seconds to a minute, that's why steps even are more important now than ever.
Totally. Yeah, breaking that stuff down into those manageable chunks. And I love what you said that there, the focus on the process, right? Because then kids are not rushing to get the final answer. They're being congratulated for those steps. And Neil, I just love how you tied that back to life. Like, that's why I love math too. That's what life is about. It is about the journey and not the destination. And math class is the perfect place to learn that.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, you can go do this, and it's in a series of steps. You have these business coaches out there saying, "Oh, you can go this quickly." No, there's steps to this process. There's phases. And when people are selling something before that phase is there, phases are steps. This is the phase you are now. This is the phase you are not. Let's speed up, get there with missing a step, because when we miss a step, we get it wrong.
100%. Ugh, I love that. What a
All
mic
right.
drop.
All right, sounds good. All right, where can we check out more information with you and
Okay,
stuff?
so you can find everything at education.ti.com/education. I hope I got that right. I might have got that wrong. /Evo, guys, /Evo. See, we all make mistakes. What a
Yeah,
perfect full circle moment we just had there.
exactly. All right, we appreciate it, Vanessa. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.